Hello and welcome to the Robot VARNAC wood shop. Today's project is going to be making a postage scale out of a few scraps of wood, some high-powered neodymium magnets. So you need the high-powered neodymium magnets for this project, folks, and some basic scrap wood. So let's take a look at what we're going to use today. We're going to turn this ordinary pile of scrap wood into a real operable postage scale that you can use in your home or maybe even your office. Who knows? How many of you even send out letters that you would need to use a postage scale? Let me know in the comments. So you'll need a plastic disc, a piece of scrap wood, and this will be the base for the scale. When it's done, it'll look like this. So you have your two uprights here, the magnets over here, and you'll have your scale here and the plastic disc here. So, and of course the magnets, let me tell you how this works, folks. The magnets will be opposing each other, so whatever weight you put on the scale will kind of press the magnets together, and that will reveal the weight of whatever you put on the disc when it's done. Like it shows here in the picture. So when the magnets are pressed together, they'll be compressing, so that'll help reveal the weight. Or mass, however you want to call it, mass, weight. It all comes out the same. If you're going to send out a letter, it's going to probably be 1 ounce or 2 ounces or more. You can get the official postage guide from the U.S. Post Office. How many people even use paper letters anymore? So this project is more for entertainment and curiosity mainly. It's if you actually want to put it into use and you make one, let us know in the comments how it worked for you. You also need some pocket change to calibrate your scale. And for that, if you have a set of mass weights at home, you could use those too. For example, if you have a set of mass weights, you could calibrate the scale with these, but we want to keep this simple, folks. We want this for the everyday person at home to be able to use this at their home. So we're going to use United States coinage. So 1 penny weighs about 2.5 grams. A dime weighs 2.26 grams, about, more or less. But however, a nickel weighs 5 grams even. And a quarter weighs 5.76 grams. So you're better off using the even units of measure, being 5 grams for a nickel. So you need 6 nickels to calibrate your scale to equal 1 ounce. 12 nickels to calibrate for 2 ounces. That'll be to set the scale here. When you zero it out and you start putting nickels on, you'll be calibrating the scale to see how it works. So let's get started and go to the shop and start building the scale. Well, I just found out that this piece is too wide to go on this piece here, so I have to use a smaller piece. So I'm going to cut down this piece and make a narrower piece, because this piece is too wide, as you can see. So it'd be a little. So make sure you want the piece of wood to fit between these two pieces like so. So it'll pivot up and down. And when you're measuring these pieces here, you want them to be within the range of the magnets. So you add the weight, the height of the magnets to here too. So to make a narrower piece, as you can see, this piece is kind of crooked. So I'm just going to cut the crooked part off by using the pencil marking method. Remark your line. useful tip, always keep your hands at least 2 inches or more away from the blade. Never, you don't want to just grab the blade while it's spinning. So folks, keep your fingers away from the blade, or you might not have any fingers anymore. Now you're ready to start fitting the pieces together. As you can see this piece fits better in the space between there. So now you need a piece of wire to go between the pieces. So you want the thing to pivot there like that, so your platform will be up there like that, and the magnets will be down here. The magnets will be down there, and your scale will be over here. So take a piece of an old coat hanger, for example, and cut the piece to go roughly across your base of scrap wood here. Watch where the metal pieces fly when you cut the wire. You don't want it to fly into somebody's eyes or something like that, so be careful. So the next thing to do is to mark your holes. You want the holes to be nicely centered so the item pivots. So I'm just going to use mark 1 roughly in the center. Use an owl to mark your hole. And that'll be your masterpiece for your other pieces when you're at the drill press to drill the holes. Okay, now you want to drill a hole, you want to use a drill that's slightly smaller than the gauge of the wire. You want the wire to stay in the hole, so you want to use a small drill bit where the wire will not just slip out. You could poke the whole wire out if you need to take it apart, for example, but you don't want it falling out on its own. So use a smaller, slightly smaller drill bit than the metal. And I'm going to use the same one as a pattern piece. So hold them carefully together, like so. Line them up nicely. Put them together, and you drilled both holes at the same time. See how easy that was, folks? And the wire stays in the hole too, so now you want to measure the piece for the wire. So you want the wire to be, the easy way to do it is watch your fingers. You want the wire to come roughly about halfway through the wood. So mark your hole roughly there. Now you have all 3 holes drilled. The hole needs to be a little bigger, so to make the hole a little bigger, you do this. Rock the wood inside the hole to make the hole a little bigger. And see how much easier that goes in. And maybe make it a little bit bigger. Or you can always make the piece of heat. Well, another way to do it, of course, is don't drill the holes all the way through like I did. You could drill a smaller hole and make it only halfway, for example, and it'll look a lot neater too, especially if you want to make it as a gift or something. It'd be more presentable without the other hole. Of course, this is just for demonstration only, so I'm going to take that shortcut too and make the wire smaller. And there. See, it's coming together, folks. So now I have the base. Now all that needs to have is the magnets down here, and we're almost finished. It's almost finished right before your very eyes. You'll see it working. So now you want to keep these blocks here in place. So you want to mark them for drilling. So take your pencil and make a couple marks. So now you know where to drill the holes. I'm just going to mark it with the pencil. Use your trusty owl and mark the holes for the drill press. And that'll be the holes for the bottom. The magnets will be glued in place. The platform will be put on there. And a good idea is to make a fine metal pointer for this here. So kind of make like a hole for another piece of wire. Like that. You'll put a piece of wire in there for the scale. We'll show that later. That's coming up, folks. Don't go away just yet. There's more fun to come. So here we are at the drill press. We're going to drill out these two holes here for the uprights for the scale. And this is going to be a top, so you want to countersink those holes to make the screws neater. So what better way to countersink those than use an old-fashioned countersink? See, the holes are nice and countersunk and good to go. You'll notice that this wood is dirty because it's reclaimed wood. Why buy good wood when you can reuse perfectly good wood for your projects? So don't throw away anything, folks. You could always use it later and make crazy projects like this. Now you want the upright, the beam. We'll call this beam of the scale to pivot freely. So get yourself a drywall screw and line it where you put the pencil lines, line it up, and carefully put the screw in there to make your mark. Repeat for the other side too, and you want to move the wood like I just did. You want to keep the wood in place. You could also put it over the edge and hold it like that and put the screw in from below to mark the hole. And now you see you have two neat little holes there, folks. Now get your trusty owl and make the holes better, easier to see there. And this will be about, let's see, 3 30-second drill bit as a pilot hole for the screws into the uprights. If you just put it in there directly, this thin wood will just shatter. So you want to you don't want to split the wood, folks, especially if you're making it for a gift. So I have a good square base. keep the wood as straight as possible. Now we're ready to mount the beam in place here with the 2 screws. Another possibility is just to use an ordinary nail. Here's an ordinary nail that was used for the pointer. So just jab the nail in there like that, and so it'll point at the scale like that, so you see it working when it's calibrated. The next thing to do is, now we're ready to put the magnets in, folks. The magnets. So you want the magnets to be opposed to each other. You don't want them sticking together, you want them opposed. So this is going to be tricky. You're going to have to stick one magnet on and keep them separated. So easiest way to do that is be careful with the new radium magnets, folks. They're very powerful indeed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a mark about the thickness, put the magnets, let the magnets sit together there, folks, and make a mark where the magnets are going to go, like so. You want them to be nicely lined. Hold the thing together and you can make the lines in the upper part there. Now you have the mark for the upper magnet and you have the mark for the lower magnet. So now you just have to remember which is opposed and which is... Well, that's easy to tell. Since they're joined together, put a mark there and you see that they're together. So now you put the mark, put the marks opposite of each other so they don't stick together. As a proof, you can see when the marks are, keep the magnets apart from each other, because it helps to know how the polarity of these things are marked. Well, I'm just going to put one on, whatever the polarity is on the next one. So you want to make sure you got the polarity right, so when you put them on there, they'll be opposing each other. The whole idea of this thing, folks, is that the magnets oppose each other. And you mount the other magnet there like that, so when it's together, they oppose each other. You could also see that they oppose, and then physically put the magnet there like that, so you can put it there like that. To keep this, make this go faster, you can put the glue on there, or use a strong glue, folks, and keep the magnets safely secure so they won't try joining each other later on. A good way to do that is to drill a hole, find the diameter of the magnet and drill a hole there and make a wood block. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a block for the size of the magnet to keep it securely in place. So now we're back at the drill press. So an easy way to see the size of the drill you need for the magnet is to put the magnet across the drill bit like that. So in this case it's a 1/2 inch diameter, so since it's a square, it's got to fit into a circular hole, because the drill only drills circular holes. And here's another helpful tip, folks. If you're going to drill, I only want a small piece of this wood, so instead of cutting the small piece, it's easier and safer to drill the hole on a big piece of wood than cut it down afterwards. So I'm just going to roughly line it up there and drill the hole. When using a spade bit like this, you should start from one end and go about halfway through, and then finish the hole from the other side. See how much neater and cleaner that hole is when you turn it over with the spade bit. So if you have that, so I'm going to mark my line to cut about there. And as you can see, the magnets fit right in there with the glue. That magnet ain't going to go anywhere. Well, folks, since the new iridium magnets are obviously made in Japan or wherever, they're measured in metric, and the drill I used is measured in fractions of an English inch, I need to make the hole bigger. But because the spade bit is so dangerous to use, I don't want to do the wobble method to make it bigger, so I'm going to use my rat tail file and make the hole bigger. So this is a good use to use that round file you got in your shop to make little holes into big holes. And now the magnet fits in there just fine. Press it in there a little bit. There, now it fits right in there. Now when it's opposed, that magnet ain't going anywhere. The scale will be more reliable and stable. So roughly put it there. You can see where the magnet would go. And you could put this magnet there in place and glue this magnet in place. And glue that magnet in place. Of course, if you want to make it fancier, you could use a lathe and make this fancy turn thing and make it a lot more fancier. It's your choice. This is just to show you how to do it. So get some glue. Make sure the magnet's in line with the beam. You want the magnet to be in line with the beam, so you want the magnets to line up accurately for the scale. Oops, the wrong way. Putting it the right way would certainly help. So now you see it's opposing. You could probably put make this a little tighter here to keep the beam from wobbling, but this is just a demonstration, folks. You could put another guide block here to put better guide blocks there to keep the beam from wobbling. So to keep the beam from wobbling, you could put other make bigger guide blocks here to keep the beam from wobbling at the magnet. So while the glue is drying on that one, I'm going to put the magnet on this other side here and continue making the project, folks. Just a reminder, folks, that that's public domain music playing back there. I'm just going to use tape and hold the magnet in place with plastic tape. Just another helpful tip, folks. Ordinary paper masking tape dries out so much I don't use paper masking tape anymore. I just use the plastic tape. See, folks, now you see it's actually it's working right before your very eyes. See that, folks? It's working. You had guide blocks here. It would work. And as you can see, heavier items make it go up, and lighter things go down. So you see it working, folks. It's working right before your eyes. It's working. So you put your platform on there. Of course, it goes without saying, if you try not to use anything magnetic, like a paper letter, for example, like a postage scale, it would work okay. So you want to put that on there. If we find here's the pointer. Yes, here's the pointer. So it seems to have a preference for going this way, so I'm going to put the block on this side so it can't. The magnets have a tendency to want to go this way, so put the guide block where it won't allow the magnets to meet. Like, so it's meeting there, so you want to keep the magnets from meeting, so put another block there. And the easiest way to do that is let's make another hole and keep it. I'm going to make it slightly below the beam, so you want the beam to be above this block. Now the next problem, folks, is how to keep the beam from trying to meet the other side of the magnet. So for that, I'm going to use 2 ordinary nails. So put the beam right in the middle. You'll get a lot of resistance from the magnets. But make a mark. So make a mark where you want to drive the nail to hold the beam in center. And tap it with a hammer. You'll need 2 big nails there. Make it look a little neater by keeping the nail holes lined up. And drive the nails in a little easier. Use a little drill there and drill but now you want the nails to be below the beam, so you need to cut the nails short. So make a mark where you want the nails to be cut. And use a bolt cutter, a small bolt cutter there, to cut the nail. That's another helpful tip, folks. You could buy longer nails than you need, and you can cut them short like this, so you can make long nails into short nails, so you don't have to buy different sizes of nails. You could just have the fewer size nails on hand. See, now you have 2 short itty bitty nails. Now the holes are pre-drilled. Now once the platform's on there, it'll hold it in place. Is it maximum weight? The platform should be okay. Now you're ready to start. For the sake of the video, we're ready to start calibrating the scale. Remember, this is just for entertainment, folks. This is not this scale would certainly not be legal for trade. So if you walked into a deli or any kind of market with this kind of scale, no one in their right mind would want to use this scale for trade. So I'm just going to use this thing here. Of course, like the nails, you want the thing to be below, they'll be outside of the platform. Put it there like that. In this case, the magnets are so strong, they needed more dead weight to keep the scale underweight. So if you have real strong magnets, consider putting some dead weight on there to keep the scale at 0, because in this case it keeps wanting to jump out. Now another way to solve that, folks, is to use another piece of tape. Instead of adding dead weight, I'm just going to restrict the scale within the two nails here to keep the beam of the scale inside. Keep it from meeting there. So you can put your platform on there, and then very carefully mark your 0 reference there. So remember the calibration method we are using. I'm going to go ahead and use quarters. So I'm going to calibrate the scale with quarters. Each quarter weighs 5.67 grams. So for 1 ounces you need about 5 quarters. So I'm going to put 5 quarters on here. $1.25. The magnets are so strong, however, that it's barely moving. There's so much force on there, so I'm going to go ahead and put 10 more magnets on for a total of 2 ounces. And you see it moved a little bit there, so you could, if the magnets were weaker, the range of the scale would be a lot better and easier to see. These big half-inch magnets are so powerful that the pointer barely moves, but you can see it's probably about a 1/16 of an inch it actually moves. So 1 ounce is 2 ounces, folks, for 10 10 quarters being 2 ounces is about a 1/16 of an inch. But if you used magnets of a lesser power, the range of motion of the beam would be a lot bigger. So these big 1/2 inch square magnets are very powerful for this demonstration. So if you used a smaller size magnets, you'll probably have better results. If you build one with the smaller size magnets, let me know in the comments how it worked for you, and we'll see. So let's put the scale through more trial here. Of course, you can't use anything magnetic because the magnets will be wanting to join. So it seems to only have a couple ounces range, then it forces itself and the magnets just stick anyway. So you need to, I should have used smaller magnets. It would have a better range of motion. The stronger 1/2 inch magnets are just too powerful. So if you make the magnetic postage scale, let me know in the comments how it worked for you. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Let us know what kind of woodworking material you want to see, and of course come back for another woodshop project. There'll be a lot more woodshop related projects coming up, so don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see that kind of content. We have a lot of different projects in mind, folks, including how to use old packaging and stuff like that for organization in the shop. And so that's all for today, this week. So see you next week with another robot VARNAC woodshop project. So we're pretty much going to the DIY woodshop, so don't forget to subscribe.